The Odisha government began its first ever survey of social and educational conditions of people belonging to 208 backward castes. This survey will be conducted until the 27th of May and it began on the 1st of May. Odisha is the second state in India to conduct this survey after Bihar. The questionnaire for the survey includes the kind of houses they live in, their livelihoods, access to infrastructure, hospitals, schools, markets, colleges, and such others. The idea is to find out the social and educational status of backward classes and, in turn, help with focused planning for their socio-economic development. Meanwhile, at the national level, the Congress party has recently been demanding that a caste census be conducted. India's last census was conducted back in the year 2011, and the next census a decade later was postponed due to the pandemic. We have a bunch of very special guests joining us this morning on News9 Live to take this discussion forward. We have Shikha Mukherjee, senior journalist, joining us, and we also have Mr. Amitabh Tiwari, political analyst, joining us, and Shiv Pujan Jha, senior journalist as well. Thank you, all three of you, for taking time out this Thursday morning for being with us. I'm going to begin with Shikha Mukherjee. Shikha, talk to us. How do you view this particular, because there's a difference between a caste census and a caste survey. Bihar as a state has done this. Now we have Odisha doing this to understand at what level of development are these backward castes at this stage. Whereas India as a country is yet to have a normal census, leave alone a caste census, a normal census since say 2011, because it was postponed due to the pandemic and it's yet to be undertaken. And right now, we are building up towards an election, so God knows when the next census is going to be. But then the question of the caste census at national level rings problematically for so many people. They're saying that why the hell do a caste census? Why do you need a caste census? Because that just will create, will just deepen the divide within the country. Whereas at a state level, administrations seem to be understanding that this is a reality that you have to contend with.
Well, I think there are two issues here. Number one, the fact that the census per se has not been done on time is a disgrace for India, because India was one of the forerunners in having a census on a regular basis for over 100 years. Now, that having said that, let me go back to the difference between a census and a survey. A census is an extremely technical, well understood process, and that requires a kind of specialization which, other than the census commission, no one has that kind of technical expertise. A survey is a stopgap arrangement, and the necessity of a survey is very clear. I mean, why are we only focusing on what Odisha is doing today? Bihar went in for this survey a little while ago. Way back in Yogi Adityanath's first term in Uttar Pradesh, he also got a survey done, and it was it was called the Samajik Nyaya Samiti report. The point is that states feel that there is a need. And if the states feel that there is a need, there is obviously a national need. And the fact that there was a caste census, a socio-economic census of castes included, with the 2011 census, it means that there was a clear understanding that there was a need to figure out what is the condition of the backward caste, the lower castes within the caste categories. And of course, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes are in any case counted within the census. We, as a country, need to address the issues of backwardness among certain categories of people, And in order to do so, you need data. How do you plan? How do you program? How do you create schemes? How do you get an understanding of where are the issues? I mean, you look at the structure of Odisha's survey. Access to infrastructure is what the focus is on. Hospitals, schools, uh, jobs, colleges, in other
Right,
institutions.
right.
You see, this is exactly where the barriers come in. It is exactly where social attitudes, deeply embedded, rooted social attitudes come in. And this is where the need really is. How do you overcome the the inherited biases and prejudices of a social milieu where caste is an extremely important marker of your identity.
Absolutely.
And the only way to overcome it is by looking at
Absolutely.
how people are doing.
Shikha Mukherjee, stay with us. Let me just take this across to Amitabh Tiwari as well. Amitabh Tiwari, caste is the single most important unit of identity in this country, across the country, north to south, east to west. So in that sense, the demand for a caste census is not misplaced in a country like this, because let's face it, all politics with every election gets played on the basis of caste. Religion is an add-on, depending upon the times that we live in.
See, caste is central to the Indian political system and electoral system, as you said. But you need to understand that there is a lot of politics behind this decision. Naveen Patnaik ji is realizing in his sixth term, or rather in his fifth term, that he needs to do a OBC survey. Nitish Kumar is realizing, after being 20 years in power, that the backwards of his state have not been able to get the required benefits, and that's why he needs a survey. So there is a lot of politics behind this survey. What ma'am is saying is the actual need of the survey, but we need to understand that over the years, and since the last 9 years, with BJP being able to eliminate the caste and religion-wise voting largely in the north, central, and the western parts of the country, the so-called ex-Janata Dal constituents or parties, which have been the single most largest beneficiary of the Mandal Commission recommendation in the terms of votes. Because if you recall, even VP Singh, when he announced the Mandal, it was essentially to tame the Kamandal, the Rath Yatra, which was being taken by LK Advani at that point of time. So the OBC, by providing OBC reservation, the Janata Dal and the ex-Janata Dal parties, BJD including, JDU including, Samajwadi Party and others, JDS, etc., have benefited a lot. But in the last 9 years, so in 2009, BJP's vote share from OBCs used to be 22%. In 2019, this has increased to 44% as per CSDS survey. And this is the largest block of the population, 41 to 42% nationally. So if a large section of people have moved from voting on the caste lines to a larger Hindutva parameter, the opposition, including Congress and more specifically the Janata Dal parties, are feeling threat. Even in Odisha, in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, general elections, BJP outscored BJD amongst the OBCs in terms of support. So that's a big worry for the party going forward. Naveen Patnaik is, of course, fairly strong in the state, but in the national elections, he feels that the BJP closed the gap last time, 12-8 and 1 seat to the Congress. This time BJP could outdo him, and he also needs a new plank. See, every election, Naveen Patnaik throws up something. So once he has won on the basis of a 1 rupee, 2 rupee kg rice. Once he broke the alliance with BJP and showed his secular credentials when this attacks on the Christians, etc., were happening. Last election was largely won on the plank of the Kalia scheme, which was a cash dole scheme for the farmers. And in this election, see, if you are in 25 years in power, what do you, I mean, you have to take something new to the electorate every election. So this is a card which he has placed, keeping the state elections in mind and driving the narrative for the next polls.
Right, Shiv Pujan Jha, would you concur with what Mr. Amitabh Tiwari's analysis is, which is basically saying that, while the fundamental reason for a caste survey, caste census, all of that is fine, all of that is good, but look at the two states, and the two people who have, who have put into place their caste surveys, Bihar with Nitish Kumar and Odisha with Naveen Patnaik. They have political reasons because they face such huge incumbency when it comes to their next elections.
Yes, I would agree with you. The fact being that most of these political leaders, primarily I would say, the regional parties and the regional chakras, somewhere down the line, they do have that kind of feeling which is developing really fast that it's very difficult for them to stop the BJP, which seems to be really riding high on the agenda of call it Hinduism, nationalism, the Modi cult, as well as all the welfare schemes. So they know that they have to devise schemes. They have yet again to fall back upon the so-called rigid, fragmented society, which is the caste being the most important factor there. And that is the reason why we see that in the recent times there was this kind of hue and cry repeated of the requests being made by political parties like the RJD and the JDU for having a caste-based census. Well, Bihar presently is passing through the second phase of caste-based census, and we are expecting that this will possibly end by 15th of May. But what is going to be the end result of it? More fragmentation in the society? Or is it that the welfare schemes which the government submitted in the court, categorically saying that for them it would be easier to frame policies and programs and to target that particular section within the society which has been left out, which has completely been marginalized? It remains to be seen, but primarily it is an attempt to gain relevance in the present context where most of these political parties, they are getting the feeling of being elbowed out by the BJP.